What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. Don't you love the market? One day you could be very much in fear, but then the next you are getting a potential bailout, or Silicon Valley is getting a bailout, and potentially as well, no interest rate hike. So definitely a nice churn of events. So I want to give you a good breakdown of what the data points are saying, and potentially as well about the stealth and how that might make the Q1 look very, very good. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get right to it. So this morning there was a very large sell-off. So it did go down to $7.33. Since then, they have announced several different things. Like I said, that potential bailout, even though they're not calling it a bailout, and also this on how it's now anticipated the Feds aren't going to be raising the rate. So of course that is going to be giving the green light to a lot of growth stocks. Of course CPI is coming out tomorrow, so that might disrupt a lot of things. But like I said in the past, I was under the impression that if CPI was to go either way, both positive or negative, it would result in a negative, because of course then the Feds would be able to raise the rates. But because of the circumstances, if the CPI is in fact lower, then the markets are just going to go on a massive rally. Especially as well, if you look at, for instance, stochastic, it is currently at 6, and despite everything that happened this morning, you do see a very small deviation, so black line above the red, showing a bullish sentiment is wanting to form with Lucid. And looking as well, a number of retail investors are clearly buying the dip today, so definitely hats off to you. Give yourself a shout out in the comments below if you did buy the dip today, because looking at this, it was one hell of a crazy morning. And unfortunately, shorts were very much as a result of a lot of this kind of feeding off of that fear. So I'll give you guys a quick update on that. So short score is currently 83, utilization is 100%. And as far as what shorts are doing right now, they are increasing 2.08 million shares. 20.44% is the short interest, which is a percentage of the free float. Cost to borrow average is around 13%, give or take. And I just want to put that in perspective. See this massive line up right here? That works out to be roughly about, it looks like, almost 4 million shares, give or take, that was increased this time period. So this was as a result of shorts, like I said. But given the circumstances of what's been happening and developing, I think right now it's a fairly good time to increase your position in Lucid. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor, so make sure you guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But of course, as I always say though, when it comes down to Lucid, you should be thinking bigger picture. So in reality, don't worry so much about the short-term volatility. Years from now, when you look back, you'll actually wish that you did buy more. And just to put in perspective as well, I know a lot of people like to bash Lucid and a lot of other growth stocks, but just to put it in perspective, as you can see based on this performance, so overall year to date is actually up 15.23%. So that's actually fairly good, versus the whole S&P 500 is up roughly about 0.5%. So Lucid is actually doing fairly well. I know a lot of you might not necessarily think so, but in the end it is. So obviously let me know your thoughts on that. On a side note, if you do like, for instance, Seeking Alpha, want a lot of this good information all compiled in one, I do have a 7-day free trial for you guys. Click on the link in the description below or the comments. Take advantage of that trial, because this is a pretty good platform to use. But like I said at the very beginning, one very exciting thing that was more alluded to by Lucid, more so in the Q4 earnings, was the stealth. But in the Q4 earnings, they kind of talked on a bottleneck, and unfortunately that kind of caused people to be a little bit more uneasy. But based on this tweet that did come out on March the 7th, I've already touched on this vaguely in a video already, but by them posting this, I think this was under the impression now that it's available, at least the stealth package is available. And of course, looking right here, it does look like it is confirmed. If you go on their website as well right here, it is, and says that technically it is available right here. So now delivering. So I think in the end of the day, this is going to be a very positive sign, which of course, this package is going to add roughly, I think right here, 6,000 US, or if you're in Canada, 7,500. And this is going to be planned and introduced for Q1 2023. And this article came out August 2022. So it is coming as planned on schedule. So I don't know why they necessarily said so much or caused so much of a fuss potentially about that. Maybe they were anticipating it to be ready January. But again, no matter what though, I think this is a fairly positive thing. But the only negative I do see about this, it is for a lot of the vehicles that don't necessarily have that great of demand. That might change, of course, but as of right now, the Air Grand Touring Performance, Air Grand Touring, and Air Touring, I don't know about the Air Touring right now, but I know the AGT right now does have a little bit more of a demand issue. So I would really like to see them add this stealth package, for instance, to the Pure, or even to the Gravity whenever that does come out, but more specifically to the Pure, because when they came out with this, in August, this was huge. Like, everyone wanted this. This would have looked so sleek. Imagine on the Pure, especially Lucid's marketing is very much word of mouth. And the Pure most likely is going to be the big thing for 2023 as far as getting Lucid's name out there. And so, of course, if they add that actual stealth package to that, that would definitely give Lucid some much needed additional revenue and also potential more sales as well. So I think in general that would be a win-win. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. I'll give you a quick other update on options activity. Options activity, first thing, you can see that there was a lot of puts being purchased, clearly because of that whole downtrend and the whole fear around that. But outside of that, it seems to be a lot more calls being purchased. So a lot more optimism now, and obviously you can kind of see the prices starting to go up. And looking on the Fibonacci, so like I said, based on and outside of the big moving averages, you can kind of look at the Fibonacci levels to see where things might be going. So $8.20 is a very big point to watch for, as is 704, of course, with CPI coming out and so forth. But I do anticipate most likely a little bit more optimistic CPI data, hopefully giving it a nice boost above that 820. But of course, like I always say though, I'm not a financial advisor, but generally speaking, I think right now things are starting to look fairly good, and it's a nice change of events to see number of retail investors starting to get back in today. So a lot more optimism, and plus clearly they like the discounted price. So let me know your thoughts on all that. And like I already said, give yourself a shout out in the comments below if you have been taking advantage of this price or where you see things going. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Don't forget to also take advantage of the 7-day promo with Seeking Alpha. This is amazing content all in one place as well, such as even here they did submit their definitive 14A, which is right here. So it is for the upcoming shareholder meeting on April 24th, 2023 on these 6 things, 5 of which you are going to be kind of voting on. They haven't necessarily changed it, but of course they changed it from a preliminary to a definitive. So this is it. This is the final word basically. So let me know your thoughts on that. I'll link this in the description below as far as a good summary basically on what you're investing in. I'll save you guys some time though. Nothing really sketchy. This is going to be a very basic shareholder meeting in reality. My own interpretation, of course. But like I said, take advantage of this promo. Very much beneficial, and plus it's free 7-day trial. But like I said, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. If you do like my Lucid content and want to support the channel, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.